Hi everyone, this is Kelly Ann with Church Windows. I am your presenter for today's user group. Today we are going to take a look at entering your pledges or entering your pledge campaign and then also entering pledges to that campaign. Just noticed someone said they had no sound. I probably wasn't talking yet, so hopefully you have sound now. Um, I'm going to go ahead. Prior to the start, we had a presentation going that showed you some things about Church Windows and how to use the GoToWebinar toolbar. So hopefully, if it's your first time using GoToWebinar, you were watching that. While I'm going through the material today, Ross is in the classroom with us, and if you open your question panel, you can type questions into the question panel, and Ross will answer those as I'm showing things. Then at the end of the user group, we'll open up for questions from everyone, and I'll just read those out loud and answer them out loud for everyone. Real quick thing before I start showing you donations, what I'm using today is a document, part of a document from our website. This time of year, it's a very useful page. If you look under support, right here in the middle, we have the New Year prep and help. Also, two useful links down below in support are new version resources where we place all of these movies once they're cleaned up. I am recording this. And our support blog also has movies and documents, and those are all free. But this time of year, you might find this New Year prep and help very useful. Not only is it full of documents, but there's also movies, and there's documents and movies that cover the different things you may or may not need to do in all the different modules of the program. The newer accounting, which actually isn't that new, it came out in 2008, but for some people they've just moved to it. Accounting and donations, and then the older modules, contribution and financial. What I'm using today, though, is from the Donation New Year Prep Steps. The first document here, Donation New Year Steps. I'm not using the entire document. It goes through things you may or may not need to do with your envelope numbers. What I'm looking at today and going to kind of use as a base is page 5 and 6, starting a new campaign and how you handle prepaid pledges. And I'll also show you just how you enter the actual pledge money, even if it's not a prepaid. But that is what I'm going to follow along with, and I will point that out again at the end of class as well. So let me go ahead and close the internet, and let's bring up Church Windows. Now, I already had donations open to save time, but to open donations, you just click on donations on the opening screen. Now, if you're pledging church, you can set up pledges easily by clicking on the word pledges right on the opening screen shortcut picture map, or along the top if you click on the word upper left, words, accounts and pledges, and then click the button below with the blue ribbon, pledges, that takes you to the same place. It's just these pictures in the middle of the screen are shortcuts to things people tend to use more often. So if we go to pledges, you'll see there's two tabs, campaign pledges and pledges by giver. Let me just show you. Pledges by giver is actually where you can see the history of an individual or family's pledging. And if somebody says they want to set up their own pledge to something the church isn't running a campaign or a mass pledging towards, maybe they want to set up a pledge for flowers, you could set that up here. If you are running a campaign where you're asking everyone in the church to set up a pledge for that, you want to set that up on the Campaign Pledges tab. Now, to set up a new campaign, you can do one of two things. If you've been using the program and you have the same people who tend to pledge every year, then what I can do in the upper left where it says campaign, I can click the down arrow and I can choose the most recent campaign or the campaign I want to copy. Notice when I choose my general fund campaign for 2015, I see all the people I entered last year to this campaign. And for this example, we're assuming most of these people are pledging again, so I just want to copy all of them over. So what I can do is first I chose the campaign, and then up along the top I can click on Copy Campaign. Now, I've had several calls regarding this message and people not reading the message and just moving on. When you get messages, it's not an error, it's information. And this is an important one. It's telling us leap years can affect the new date range. Verify the ending date of the new campaign. I've taken calls where people have just ignored that, clicked OK here. But if you notice, because of leap year, it sees the end date as 12/30. We need to change that to 12/31, or else it's not going to be a full year showing. And when we enter the different frequencies, such as annual or weekly or monthly, it's not going to calculate for 12 months or 52 weeks or an entire year because we didn't put the entire date range for the year here. So I want to make sure I look at that message. And now I want to also enter my campaign name for 2016 and then click OK. And now, excuse me, screen looks the same because I copied over the same people. But if we look in the upper left, we see General Fund 2016. And just below, if I click the arrow, I can see I still have my general fund for 2015. But I've copied everybody from that campaign over to my new General Fund 2016 campaign. And then here, if I need to edit some things, I can go in and change my frequency and amount. If people are not pledging this year, I can click the minus at the end of the line and delete their pledge for this year. So that's an easy way to start a new pledge campaign for the next year if the majority of the people who pledged in an existing campaign are the people you want to copy over. Again, you can edit those, change their amounts, remove them from the campaign, but that's an easy, quick way to add people to a campaign if you tend to have the same people each year. Now, if you need to delete one, we're just going to go ahead and delete this general fund that I copied over. But if you want to delete something, first you click the down arrow, choose the campaign you want to delete, and now I can hit the minus and tell it, yes, permanently delete General Fund 2016. And now my screen goes blank because I just deleted that pledge campaign. But notice I still have all my other campaigns. Maybe you don't have any prior campaigns or you don't want to copy over an existing campaign. You want to start fresh and new. To do that, in the upper left, I'm going to click this little plus sign, and that brings up a window where I can go ahead and type in the name, for my new campaign and click OK. And now my screen is blank because I didn't copy over a campaign. I'm setting up a brand new one. So then upper left where it says account, I need to click the down arrow and find the account that will be used for this campaign. And because we are still in 2015 and the program sees that from my computer date and time, I need to go ahead and move my start and end dates to show 2016. If people tend to give the same amount or have the same frequency, I can set those here, and then it will automatically enter those as I add givers, and I could edit or change those if I need to. We're just going to go ahead and move over here to add givers. Notice everything grays out here now. That way I don't accidentally change accounts or the start or end dates. If I need to edit those, I can click Edit Campaign, and those are now active again. To make them inactive, I can just close out, come back in, and now let's choose that 2016 again. All right, now let's add our givers. When I click Add Givers, it grays that out. Now, upper left where it says Giver, I can either click the down arrow and scroll through my list and find who I need, and then I would add their pledge amount. And then I can choose their pledge frequency. You have an option of flat, which means for the duration of the pledge start and end dates, they're going to give this flat amount. Annual, it's similar to flat in the case of a yearly pledge campaign. But if you have a multi-year campaign that, say, spans 3 years, then annual is going to take that and whatever that pledge amount is and times it by 3, or however many years are in that multi-year campaign. Semi-annual would be twice a year. Quarterly, 4 times a year. Monthly, we'll times it by 12. Semi-monthly, I believe that's twice a month. I haven't looked at that. Bi-weekly or weekly. So once you choose your giver, enter their pledge amount and their frequency, then I click Add Giver to Campaign. Now I can also start typing the name of a person. And from the drop-down list, once I see that name, select that name. And then enter their frequency, their pledge amount and frequency, and click Add Giver to Campaign. Or I could start typing their number, and the list will narrow down to the number I'm typing. And I just keep adding my pledgers and clicking Add Giver to Campaign. Now, if pledge cards are rolling in and you want to keep adding them as you get them, then you just close out of that screen. There's no save. And say a week later I get more pledge cards. I can go right into pledges. Upper left, I'd bring up the campaign that I want to add someone to. And then I just find my giver. Oops, I think Hamer's deceased, although we see him here. We'll just find our giver, add their amount, and their frequency, and then click Add Giver to Campaign. Now, entering pledges is pretty easy, but you do have to be careful when you're choosing the account. So let's go ahead and look at entering pledges. Now, first, let's look at handling your prepaid pledges, because right now you may have entered or you're getting ready to enter your pledge campaign because you're beginning to get maybe some prepaid pledges for your 2016 campaign. Before you can enter those, you do need to set up the pledge campaign and enter the donor or giver with their amount and frequency. Now if I go to enter donations, say somebody gave me a donation today for their 2016 pledge. So I would put today as the actual date they gave it. And then let's find Jan. Pretty sure I entered one from Jan. We'll find the individual and then enter the amount they gave. And then we can put in their payment method and a check or reference number. And now if I go to Account Pledge and I click the down arrow here, notice in my list I see General Fund Current. When you see the word current in this pledge range column, that means for the donation date you have chosen for that year. So if I select current, then that would mean I'm applying this money to her 2015 pledge. Because Ms. Adams has told me this is for her 2016 pledge, but she's giving it now so she can get credit now, I need to scroll down to the bottom of the list and look for where I see my general fund, but I see that pledge range showing 2016. Now, if your drop-down box is not showing you all the dates, you can, down here in the bottom right, hover and open that up. Now I can see the entire date. Because this is a prepaid, again, I'm entering the date of 2015 that she gave the gift, and she's getting credit for that on her statement. But I'm going to choose here General Fund, and where I see 1/1/2016 through 12/31/2016. If you're an old contribution user, in that program you had an account called Prepaid Pledges. You no longer use that. Prepaid pledges go directly to the actual giving account used for that pledge campaign, but where you see the pledge range that money is intended to go towards. So we'll choose that, and then we'll click Done, Add to Batch, and then we can hit Post, or let me hit No here. If we hit Post and Transfer, it sees it's not a Sunday date, so we'll tell it yes, we want to go ahead. I'm not going to print anything here. But if I post that, that is now going to show on Ms. Adams' 2015 giving statement as given in that year. But then if I print a 2016 statement, when I do that end of next year, it will show in the summary section as prior giving. Now, also because in my account links, let's click right here in my account links real quick. Notice here with my general fund, I have money going to my checking account and my income account, general tithes and offering, but I can also fill in a prepaid credit account that's optional, and I have that going to a liability account. And the system is smart enough to see when it sees that I have that 2015 date, but I've chosen to apply the money to the account with the 2016 pledge dates. It is smart enough to know that money is prepaid and it's going to send it over to the prepaid pledge account. So let's post that. Now, let me show you how to enter just a donation for 2016. So now let's pretend we're in 2016 and Ms. Adams has given me a donation. Whoops. So January, we'll say on the 3rd of January 2016, Ms. Adams gave me some money for her 2016 pledge. We'll say $100. This time it was a check. And down under account pledge, I'm going to click the drop down. This time I do want to choose current because I put a donation date of 2016, and this money she is giving is for the 2016 pledge or the current year I've chosen on the enter donation date field. So I'll choose current, and if you notice, if we scroll down, we don't see the 2016 pledge range because, again, because I am entering a donation date of 2016, I want to choose where it says current because this money is for the 2016 campaign. Now if I click done, add to batch, and then post and transfer, tell it no, I don't want to print. Now if we look on the 2016, oops, you know what? I don't have a 2016 year open in accounting. Let me show you real quick. I'm just going to go up here real quick. Open a new year. Tell it yes, copy everything. Okay. And I'm in 2016 in accounting now. I have that. Now let's go back to donations. And if I go to donations and transfer to accounting, up at the top here, I can choose my accounting year of 2016. Now, once my computer is actually in 2016, then this transfer screen would automatically show that. But I'm really in 15, so that's why I had to change my year. But here, if we click the plus sign to open this and look, notice because I used a donation date occurred of 2016, and then I entered it to the current pledge or the 2016 pledge, the credit account now, it's not going to prepaid pledges. It sees that this money is not prepaid. It has a donation date of 2016. It was applied to the current or 2016 pledge account. So the money is going to transfer right into my income account for general tithes and offerings. All right. So that is all I wanted to show you for pledges. Again, all of that, if you join the class late, all of that can be found on the New Year's Prep and Help page. If we scroll down to the donation section and you click on the very first document, the donation New Year steps, what I showed you today pretty much was page 5 and 6 of this document, starting the new campaign where you can copy it if you'd like or start a brand new one, how to enter your prepaid pledges and how it's handled in donations and accounting. And I also showed you how to enter actual money once you're in 2016 to that current year's campaign. All right. So are there any questions about setting up a pledge campaign or entering your prepaid pledge money or the actual pledge money in 2016? If you have a question, you can open the question panel and just type that in, and I'll just read it out loud and answer it out loud for everyone. Okay, someone asked, in 2016, do you have to transfer prepaid money to regular giving account? Um, if you have money going, if you filled in and you're linked to accounting, if you fill in a prepaid credit account, then yes, in your 2016 or current year, once you're in the year that money was prepaid towards, then yes, you can post a journal entry to move the money out of the liability account and into the regular income account or wherever you'd like that. If you need help with that, definitely give us a call. Some churches like to move all of that money all at once, while other churches will just move a portion of that quarterly or monthly. But yes, you would need to post a transaction to move the money out of your prepaid account and accounting to your regular income account once you're in 2016. The program doesn't automatically move it or anything. Someone asked if the plan is for multiple years, do you list the end date in the current year for that ending date? If your plan is for multiple years, then you are going to start your start and end date for the actual multiple years that campaign is going to span. Start and end date always, you want it to be the actual dates of the campaign, because the program looks at those dates, and then that's how it determines what the multiplier will be for the different frequencies you may or may not choose. Somebody asked, if I enter 2016 prepaid amounts in 2015, does this account automatically transfer to the new year? Aren't the funds commingled with 2015 and 2016? If so, well, the program knows in donations what's for 16 and what's for 15 based on which account you choose when you enter it. And in accounting, it goes to either your income account if you don't fill in a prepaid credit account. If you fill in a prepaid credit account, it goes to that account and it sits there until you actually move it in accounting. Somebody asked, how do you see history of giving for a family for previous years? You'd go into donations, browse, click on change dates, filter, and sort, and change the dates to whatever you'd like. And then here I can also choose that specific giver and click OK. And then the browse screen will show you giving for whatever date range you entered and for whoever you selected. So in browse, again, you can enter, or on any of the reports, whatever date range you entered is what giving you're going to see. Someone asked, I've been entering the pledge amounts in as donations under the building fund. If I set up the pledge campaign, can I move their donations to the campaign report without destroying everything I've already entered? Really, I think you need to call us on that one. I'm not really clear on exactly what's occurred there. If they were entered to the wrong account, you would need to, after you set up the campaign and enter people, you would need to correct it to the right account. But if you're going to try it without calling, definitely make a backup before you try anything if you're not sure about it. Then if you go in and you try something and it doesn't work the way you expected, you can always restore that backup and be right back to where you were. But Susan, probably be best if you call us on that, because I'm not entirely clear on your question. Somebody asked, if working with a multi-year pledge and the church decides to add one more year, can we change that date range? You can. Yes, you can. But no, that is going to change the amounts people owe based on the frequency and whatever you change that to. You just select the campaign and click edit, and then I can right here change the date range to whatever I like. But you know what, before I do that, notice here that the total pledged amounts we see for these folks, like we have 600 for Jan K. Adams. If I go in and change my date range to expand that, notice that total pledged amount has now changed. So if everyone has not agreed that they want their frequency and amount to increase based on adding another year, you might just want to set it up as a new campaign. Because again, the start date and end date is how the program, it looks at that amount of time and then takes the pledge amount and then multiplies that pledge amount based on your start and end dates and based on what frequency you actually chose. All right, more questions. Flat, just somebody asked, what does flat mean? Flat means that's the amount they're giving, that flat amount. That's the total they're giving by the end of the pledge campaign. And it's similar to annual, because if you have a yearly pledge, annual means they're going to give that amount by the end of the campaign. But in the case of multi-year campaigns, annual could, if it's a 3-year campaign, annual is going to times their frequency or their pledge amount by 3 years. However, I told whatever I was going to say just completely went out of my brain. I'm sorry. Yeah, a flat pledge, though, for a multi-year, that's what I was going to say. For a multi-year, a flat pledge would mean for those 3 years, this is what they're giving. Someone asked estimative giving versus pledge giving. I'm not sure what you mean there. I know you can relabel some things on your giving statement. So I don't know if perhaps you're referring to someone relabeling your statements to say estimate versus pledge giving. But I'm not sure what your question is on estimative giving versus pledge giving. More questions. Someone asked, is the pledge report printed on the end of the year statement? What is on the statement is determined by what you select. If you want pledge information on your statement, wait for the next screen to come up. In the statement designer, you would want to make sure up at the top you have show account summary checked, and you can click on edit and see what columns are showing. And if you have, oops, let me just close that. If you have the account summary section showing, let's see if we can find Jan Adams. Let me just close this and let's just check Jan Adams since we entered some things for her. If you need to leave, we are almost 10 minutes past the scheduled time for this, so if you need to leave the user group, just use the X to close out of the webinar toolbar. But we'll stick around and finish answering questions for anyone who wants to stay. So if I choose Jan and print a statement for 2015 for Jan, we see the money I entered, the prepaid money I entered, $50 for the general fund. And we show, whoops, I changed the dates on it. Now it's multi-year. But we show here under given, this is the given prior. Oops, here's our prior giving. Under prior giving, there's nothing because this isn't prior giving yet. She's given it this year. So the amount given is 50, but this is a summary section that will show the different things they pledged to and a summary of their giving that's non-pledged. Real quick, let me show you what this looks like for Jan next year, since we entered some of that money as prepaid. So now if I look at Jan, whoops, did I get the right? How did I do 2015? Oh, I changed the quarterly section. Let me change that. Here, let's just close and try it again. Here we go. I want to change the donation date range. I was going to say, why am I seeing 2015 giving here? because I wasn't paying attention. So let me select that. Let me choose all. I think I entered giving in 2016 for her. But now if I just look at Jan Adams, then here we see she gave $100 in 2016 towards the general fund. And if we look at the summary section, we see she's pledged $600. Prior giving, last year she gave $50, so we see that under prior giving. We don't see it in the details up above, and we don't see it included in the upper right in her total given for 2016 because it was given in 15. That's when she got credit. But if we look at the summary section, we see that amount given is $100, and the prior giving from 15 applied to 16 shows in the prior giving column. All right. Then someone did ask, if you don't copy a campaign, then you have to enter each person who pledges individually, and Ross did answer that. That is correct, yes. Just figured I'd read that for everyone. Any other questions? All right, then I'm going to go ahead and end our user group for today. If you're typing a question, you might want to go ahead and hit enter and then continue typing the rest so I don't close the room before you get your question finished. Real quick, on our website, if somebody else signed you up for this user group and you weren't even aware we had these, if you look under Church Windows Training and click on Free User Webinars, we'll always list the monthly topics, and you just click and register. They're all free. Sign up for as many as you like. In January, we will not have any user groups because our call volume is quadrupled in normal calls we receive, and we have extended hours as well in January. So in January, if you need an answer right away, take a look at the website, put in a call, but no, it does take us a little longer to get back to you in January. That's why we don't have any user groups in January, though. We want everybody on the phone so we can help you and try to get calls answered quickly. But if you need a question and you know it's going to take a while for us to get back to you, take a look under support at that New Year prep and help. There's all kinds of documents there that can help you at the end of the year steps. And then also take a look under support at the new version resources. Here you'll find all the different movies we've recorded and cleaned up and put up here for you to watch for free. And the support blog also, it's searchable by keyword, or you can click on the different module names and see different documents and movies. And also don't forget, within the program you can hit F1 and that brings up the help files, our actual new and improved help files that are all searchable as well. So I don't see any new questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end our user group. Thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions, definitely give us a call or email support@churchwindows.com. Thanks again for attending, and if I don't talk to you on the phone or see you in another user group before Christmas, have a great holiday, Merry Christmas, and have a great today. Thanks. Bye.